The meta definitely took quite the big hit with all of the buffs and nerfs we just saw a few days ago, so in this video we will look at what are the new best Hearthstone decks right now, which you can be climbing to Legend with. There's definitely a big shift in power, but some of the nerf decks are actually still very playable. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you're new. And also don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching, and you can be sure I'll do my best to make you a better Hearthstone player. Now let's check out the decks.
You are not prepared!
The first deck on the list is actually gonna be Death Knight. And you guys probably noticed that Frost Death Knight has been swarming the ladder lately, and it's very strong. This is a burn deck which can do some serious damage as soon as turn 6, so it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. It has a lot of control tools as well, it has a lot of card draw and a lot of card generation, as well as a lot of mana cheating, so that definitely sounds like a recipe for success. You can refresh your mana with Horn of Winter, but you can also discount stuff with your Glacial Advance, you can copy all of your spells with Lady Death Whisper, you can board lock the opponent with Frostworm's Fury. School teachers are an absolute must for the Death Knight class, because being able to discover triple rune spells from the runes you've actually didn't pick can be pretty solid, and also it's only for 1 mana. We're also running Tessarian, Overseer's pretty powerful as well, and we also have the Death Chiller, which can also do some serious damage. What you want to be doing with this deck is fight for the board early, and around turn 5 or 6, start trying to figure out lethal outs for you with all of your burn spells. You can also board lock your opponent if you're not quite there yet with the Frostworm Fury, which deals a lot of damage. Howling Blast is also not a bad way to freeze stuff, as well as with your Icy Touch. So yeah, you definitely have a lot of control-y tools with which you can postpone the game. Your worst matchup here would be Ram Druid, because they have a lot of armor and a lot of stats on the board, so that is not something you can deal with too well. But as you can see, everything else is very green, and this is in Legend, by the way. Mulligan-wise, here's what it looks like when going first. The Tessarian looks a little bit too high on the keep list, but apparently he's very good. Like, 71% win rate card is very solid. Harbinger of Winter is very good. Your 1 mana weapon, obvious keep. Frost Strike can give you some good discovers. Frostworm really depends on the matchup if you really want to be keeping a 7-drop like that. Death Chiller is very nice on tempo, but you can also save it for the OTK combo kind of turn. Extra card draw is obviously great, School Teacher as well, but definitely don't keep more than 1 4-drop. Like, if you have already Tessarian, you're probably not going to be keeping School Teacher going first. The 3 mana weapon's also not bad. Astalor, kinda okay, but not as amazing. And the Nerubian Visor can also make some sense. Like, if you already have the Harbinger of Winter for 2, turn 3 Nerubian sounds like a good idea to me. Lady Death Whisper also can be a very good keep though. And one on the coin, here's what it looks like again. The situation looks similar. I have no idea why Chillfallen Baron is this low on the keep list, it's definitely a lot higher. And same goes for Tessarian, like, why the hell is this so low when going second when you can do this as soon as turn 3? I guess tempoing it out first could be cool, but still kinda doesn't look too logical to me. The weapons are still pretty good, Harbinger of Winter as well, Frost Strike again, Horn of Winter, kinda not a bad key still, especially if you have stuff to do, and maybe if you already have Lady Death Whisper too. For other good Death Knights right now, as you can see, Frost is king, but also Blood Death Knight can also make it work. This is still the 40 card variant, which is still very usable despite the nerf for the health. There's also 40 variant Frost Death Knights out there, but they're not as good, as you can see. And we have some 30 Blood Death Knights, which are more aggressive, so you definitely have a lot of options for Death Knight. Unholy is the worst of them though. On the number 2 spot, we have Thief Rogue still, which is just as strong, and the new expansion did give it a few new tools, which is not bad at all as well. This is the 30 variant Thief Rogue though, with new additions like Potion Belt, Potion Master Putricide, Astalor, and the new legendary Shadow of Demise. The rest is basically same old Thief Rogue from the past. We're also obviously running the Tezgray main with Contraband Stash and Jackpot for some serious RNG BS. And you obviously also can discover stuff with Reconnaissance. And also Sketchy Stranger can give you some nasty secrets to repeat. We're not running Tufan Nefarian in this one, because there are just simply better options out there now. And this is a 30 card variant, so not as much room for not the best spells. Matchup wise, here's what it looks like. And Hunters are gonna be somewhat of a bad matchup for you, but everything else is very close to 50 or far from it. Mulligan wise, going first and second, Gnolls are always gonna be great keeps. Blackwater Cutlass as well, Reconnaissance is super good as well, Jackpot, Potion Belt I'd say, Swift Scale Trickster could make the cut as well, and depending on the matchup you might even consider something like Scabs, but it's definitely not a keep against everybody. Queen Ashara, which is actually pretty high on the keep list here, and I guess it does make a lot of sense, because you can start repeating some random Colossals with Contraband Stash and Test very fast. Sketchy Stranger can also be pretty cool, but the others are probably not as much of a keep. When on the coin, it's not much different from that, but Shadow of Demise becomes a lot more keepable because you can literally use it as a second coin for you and it's still gonna be pretty good. Queen Ashara is a lot more keepable here as well because you do have an extra coin, Gnoll's still OP, Cutlass always, Jackpot as well, and Swift Scale with Jackpot can be very high rolly very fast. Even Tess Greymane is somewhat keepable here, but you gotta have the right hand for her, I feel. Sketchy Stranger is still pretty decent in my book. For other good rogue decks, as you can see, Thief definitely takes the top spot here, but Deathrattle Rogue is still usable, even though it's a lot lower than it used to be. Miracle Rogue took quite the big beating, so it's not as amazing anymore. So yeah, if you're going for Rogue, Thief Rogue's the way to go. On the number 3 spot we have Aggro Mage, which I did actually see even before the nerfs hit, and it did seem pretty weird back then, but apparently it's actually that good. You're running a lot of 1-drops in this one, including Trogs, Arcane Worm, Shivering Sorcerer so you can do stuff faster, and even Suspicious Alchemist. You have Flurry for some control tools, Amplify Snow Flurry as well. Astalure is a part of basically any deck nowadays. With Taunos you can get extra damage on all of the small spells you're gonna be getting. Crooked Cook gives you that good extra card draw. With Frozen Touch you can get extra damage once you infuse it. We're also running the new Prismatic Elemental in this one, which can give you some good discovers. Arc Splitter also gives you a couple of good Arcane Bolts for you to do some extra damage later on. Frostweave is pretty good for that extra card draw, but you're also always getting a couple of 1/1s like that, which can be pretty powerful. Cold Case is pretty nice, Commander Sivara to repeat all of those good damaging spells. Aegwynn is also pretty good in this one because +2 spell power on your next minions is gonna be just too great, and with Deathborn you can do some very good skeleton plays. Matchup wise, Big Spell Mage is gonna be a problem for you, but from the other popular matchups, nothing seems to be that bad. Mulligan wise, we're gonna have to look at the both variant, because the stats are not that populated just yet. Depending on the matchup, Iron Deep Trough can be insanely good for you. Frostweave Dungeoneer is probably always gonna be great, same with Amplified Snow Flurry. Aegwynn, maybe if you're going second it makes a lot of sense. Prismatic Elemental ain't too bad, Arc Splitter as well. For the rest, I'm not too sure. For other good mage decks, we still have Ping Mage doing pretty well, Big Spell Mage is also very good, Secret Mage is actually also usable from Diamond to Legend. We also have Spooky 40 Mage doing okay, but the rest is just variations of those. On the number 4 spot, we actually have Evolve Shaman, which I did give you a guide about recently. And like I said, that deck was not getting nerfed, so it was a pretty safe craft back then, and it does seem like it is spiking in power now too. The deck is pretty fun, and you can do some serious high rolling with it. And it's basically the same thing I showed you on the guide, so basically just go ahead and check that one out. Matchup wise, here's what it looks like after the nerfs. And Frost Death Knight is gonna be slightly unfavored, as well as Aggro Druid, which can be a bit too fast for you sometimes. Mulligan wise going first, Schooling is always gonna be great, Pre-Silence is not a bad keep, the weapon as well, Convincing Disguise is nice, to have it nice and early to get all of those infuses, Muck Pool also makes a lot of sense, and maybe even Wildpaw Caverns. When second, however, Goldshire Gnoll becomes your most keepable card because you do get extra 2 cards so you can cheat it out a lot earlier, but the rest remains pretty much the same. Tiny Toys can also make the cut here, especially if you already have Schooling and Convincing Disguise, like that can be insanely powerful. For other good Shaman decks, it's basically just Evolve Shaman right now, but there's also Swarm Shaman, which can also work, but obviously not as good. Big Shaman, pretty bad right now. And on the number 5 spot, we actually have Phylactery Warlock, which has been doing very well lately. Despite it losing Defile, it's still actually very strong because it did get a few cool new tools like Devourer of Souls, as well as Shallow Grave, and also a bunch of card draw with your Scourge supplies. The deck is far from simple, so if you're looking for easy decks for Warlock, Imp Warlock and Curse Warlock are still just as good, but Phylactery Warlock does seem to be the best performer for the class right now, so if you're serious about climbing, this should be the way to go. I tried the deck myself and failed miserably for about an hour or two, but it was definitely fun even though I was losing a lot. But practice will make perfect with this one. The gist of it is you want your Naval Mine to get triggered, you want to equip your Rune Mithril Rod and draw a ton of cards so you can pull off the combo, which consists usually with Tamsin, a bunch of minions, let's say Fiendish Circle for instance, and double phylactery so you can choose the mine twice, and you can proc it with your explosive sheep, which usually wipes the whole board. The new Devourer of Souls can be extremely powerful as well, because if the opponent actually ignores a few of your minions on the board, you can do the combo, play Devourer of Souls, and trade a few of the minions on the board already, and that way the Devourer is gonna pick them up and do even more tons of damage. You have a lot of card draw with Impending Catastrophe, and with your Dreadlich Tamsin and the new Scourge supplies. So as long as you get your Ruined Mithril Rod on time, you can do some crazy stuff even as soon as turn 6. Matchup wise, from Diamond to Legend, here's what it looks like, and Frost Death Knight is gonna be a bit too fast for you, same for Pure Paladin and Evolve Shaman, but the rest is decent. For the mulligan, Dreadlich Tamsin is always gonna be great, Mithril Rod I'd always keep as well, the Mixtress can also be pretty decent, Impending Catastrophe with some imps can also be pretty powerful, and depending on the matchup you could also consider keeping some removal. When on the coin, here's what it looks like again, the Gnoll becomes very keepable too. You still want your weapon, Explosive Sheep can help you survive longer, Mixtress as well is pretty nice, Wicked Shipment, and Impending Catastrophe if you already have some imps. Like I said, for other good Warlock decks, we still have Imp Warlock doing great, Curse Warlock as well, and the rest is iterations of those three. For the classes we didn't mention, starting off with Demon Hunter, Spell Demon Hunter is actually still doing very well, even though it does seem like the best performer is the one with the weapon now. You can still see people playing Questfell Demon Hunter regardless, but the deck is gonna definitely feel a lot more fair than it used to, so be prepared for that. Not being able to heal in the first 6 turns can be quite the problem, but you still have a ton of removal and a ton of card draw, so you should still be winning against most classes. For Druid, Ram Druid is actually still doing pretty well, and it does seem a variant with a couple of Naga Giants is the best performer right now. Aggro Druid is still good as well, 40 Ram Druid also has the stats, and the rest is a bunch of iterations of those. For Hunter, Beast Hunter is actually still very strong, and also Shockspitter Hunter is doing surprisingly well as well. There's also another Arcane Hunter at the bottom, which is still above 50, so you could try that too. With Paladins, pure Aggro Paladin seems to be the way to go right now for the class. There's also Aggro Paladin with Squawker and Trogs, but the Control-y Dragon Paladins are not as good it seems. Priest actually took quite the big hit, and now Quest Priest is the best performer with about 52% win rate, and games are very slow, especially if you manage to find the mirror. And for Warrior, Enrage War is actually doing very well, but it doesn't have that much games in it just yet, so I'm not too sure how good it really is. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. Hope this helps you figure out what you want to be playing in the new post-nerf meta. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new. And also check out the Metafy link if you want to hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video, or stream.